All right, guys, it's the Way I See It podcast. We're going to finish up this Oklahoma-Georgia game. We're at the start of the fourth quarter. It's tied up 31-31, and Baker Mayfield has just thrown an interception. The ball was run down inside the 5. Okay, so, this was, at this point, going into when the third quarter started, seemed like Oklahoma had the game in hand.
Well, they couldn't be stopped.
Exactly. And now we're at the first play of the fourth quarter. And at this point, if you're a Bulldog, you got to be feeling really good.
Absolutely.
About what's going on. And this is just another one of the ebbs and flows that made this game, to me, is one of the best football games I've ever watched.
I agree with you. Oh,
nice play, because that's not where that play you wouldn't think was probably meant to go. They kind of had everybody bunched in right there, and trips kind of tight to the right. Let's see. Okay, that right there is mesh.
that's what I was thinking.
That's mesh with a post behind it, and mesh is a man beater. So what that means is you see the tight end on the top on the right side, and then the tight end here at the bottom. They're running crossing routes, and when the play is meshed, they keep going. Okay, so
Meaning they're not looking for
grass. They're just going to keep running. So you see they both kept going through there. That's where it's meant to be. Because you want to, when you get everybody bunched in, you want to get them kind of to run into each other. But the reason you'll run a post behind it, so this guy down here at the bottom of the screen is going to run a post. And the reason you're going to run a post behind it is because when those linebackers clear out, it's going to open up a path. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's just a classic mesh play.
Passing lane.
Oh yeah, that's been one of my all-time favorite man beaters, especially around the goal line.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason it's around the goal line is because you're almost always going to get man down there. So now when you run mesh and it's not man, you want your receivers to sit down in grass, but that's a lot harder to teach. It's real easy to teach them just to keep running, So
Right.
I normally would just run mesh against man defenses. All right.
So Oklahoma scored 31 the first half and not a point in the third quarter. That was.
That's right. And they're coming out spread with a wing. They're going, come out and run a double reverse, and it looked like.
Looked like he had a lane.
It looked like they had something, but that guy right there just made play after play after play after play. And look how quick he recognized this.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's two guys trying to block you, neither one of them get it done.
Right.
And that's a huge play, because if he don't make that play, they probably pick up 30 yards.
That's right. And then they get a first down, and when the offense was getting a first down and getting rolling, they couldn't stop.
Now that's a great point. Anytime Oklahoma gets a first down, it's trouble.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got trips at the top.
That's like a roof on it.
And I even though we know Oklahoma didn't end up winning this game, but it's still good play calling. They're not abandoning the run right here, because the run game's such a big part of their offense. A lot of times when the play doesn't work, they're all upset about the call. But just because the play doesn't work doesn't make it a bad call.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
All right, so what we got here? Okay, this is the Twins on the same side as the tight end.
Georgia's bringing pressure.
Yep. Okay, let me point out something to you right here. When you see this receiver at the top of the screen, when he goes in motion, the reason that you're going to bring him in motion like this right here is because you want him to get an easy release.
Okay.
Okay, so you're going to bring him in motion so he can't get jammed up at the line of scrimmage or something like that. So that's the goal. 9 times out of 10, you got a receiver in motion, that's going to be your first option. And if you look, Mayfield's kind of wanting to throw to him, but he gets some pressure in his face from that side. You see he's looking.
Yep.
He's looking at that guy who's going to run a corner route. But he has to come off of it because there's some pressure coming right at his face from that. And that's one of them times when I said earlier in the game, it's not that's where I see his height being an issue.
Right.
Because it's not necessarily he's getting hit, but he has to move because when you get inside that comfort zone, he doesn't feel comfortable throwing the ball over because I don't believe he can see it.
Right.
All right, so Georgia got another big stop right there. And
Which right now, I mean, the tide's completely changed. It's
changed.
38-31, and Georgia's gotten the ball. You're kicking off to Georgia, and you hadn't been able to stop them.
That's right, and Georgia's getting the ball
In the fourth quarter on a defense that looks like it's worn down because they just gave up 21 points in a quarter.
right.
But, Oklahoma is fixing to.
And you got really good field position if you're Georgia.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a time right here where Georgia could put this game, could almost put it away.
Right. And so, Georgia's going to come out in I formation, wide receivers in kind of tight. Let's see what we're seeing right here.
They're wanting to come out and run the football and just.
Absolutely.
Well, it looks like they
Do what
want to
they
have a
do.
long, sustained, pounding drive.
Let's see what play that was. That's lead zone.
Yeah.
That's just lead zone. We're just going to run inside zone
Yep.
with a lead blocker. It
They want
don't
'em
hardly get much more smash mouth than that.
Right. Well, I mean, and they're averaging probably 10 yards a carry.
Dude, at least. It felt like more than that watching the game.
Yeah.
All right, so 2nd and 7. Georgia's going to spread it out some. Like I said, they won the game, so a lot of times it's hard to second guess calls. But during the game, when this kind of stuff, I was thinking, why don't they just run it?
Just run the ball.
Just run it right here.
But I mean, right there, he was giving you that cushion that we talked about earlier, and I'm
Right.
assuming Fromm probably took that on himself.
Right, and there is, I believe Fromm. Well, it's no doubt about it. He's earned the coach's trust
Right.
by this point.
Absolutely.
He's earned their trust to go do whatever. They're gonna trust him to make the throw, to convert when it needs to be. All right, so it's 3rd and 4, and it's a long 4.
Well, I mean, if I'm Georgia, I'm still running the ball right here, to be honest with
Yep.
you. And there comes the hook shot. I don't know why.
Yeah, that
It
was a
just got through him.
bad play.
And
We're
it
sitting
looked-
here bragging on him, but he's learning the coach's trust, and then he does that right there, which that's quick to
Yeah, I
lose
mean,
it.
I thought Georgia should have ran it probably 2nd down and then 3rd down. Even 3rd and 4, I'd have still ran it.
Yeah, and this is a mistake by Fromm because he's getting that Swift going out. Okay, he should know right now who's covering Swift.
Right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And it's gonna be this linebacker on this opposite side. Okay. Now so look, Swift's got a 5-yard head start.
Right.
All right, so he should get this ball, bam, and hit him.
Up the Swift.
You hit that man right there in stride. Whoo!
And you
the
got Green.
Yeah, linebacker's not making that tackle,
No.
and that's out the gate.
Mm-hmm.
A good friend of mine that used to coach with me, he'd say that's 98 and out the gate right there because that's a touchdown.
That's a touchdown.
And so, see, that's on that right, and I promise you, I'm really good friends with some of the coaches on Georgia's staff, and I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, this was pointed out as soon as they did film breakdown.
Absolutely.
This is a guy trying to make a big play in instead of the easy play, which would be a big play.
Right.
Okay.
Instead of getting the ball out in space to your
Yeah.
athletes, taking what they give you, what you hear people say all the
Right,
time.
and that's something that we've noticed that Baker Mayfield is really good at.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you make that throw and it ends up in the end zone, I mean, it's just a huge play for you.
Mm-hmm.
And the game's near about over at that point. Now, you know, what we talked about earlier, Georgia won the game anyway, but there's always room for improvement. All right, so Oklahoma's going to come out right here with two backs.
That's a good running back right there.
Really good. Golly. Man, that guy can play.
And Georgia don't miss many tackles, and that guy he shook a lot of tackles in this game.
Man, he's running through them.
Yeah, he's exceptional about it.
Running through tackles.
Well, and he's shifty in space. You know, they never get clean licks on him. He's
That's
sliding
right.
off. You gotta catch that.
Yep. And it's just another kind of wrinkle, you know. So they're running counter right there, and we talked about earlier. We talked about in the breakdown leading up to this game when they run counter, they're going to use Mayfield's athleticism as a way to freeze that defensive end. Well, this time they give you another little option off of it. They bring that back across to throw it to.
Georgia's linebackers, do they cross read those backs?
Oh, I don't know what their reads are.
They almost have to be because Roquan broke out. Roquan's covering the.
Well, he's not cross reading him because
No, it's not.
his,
I was wrong with that.
yeah, his first top is with the play.
Yeah.
My bad, right there. Yeah, his so you can see he's probably reading the deep back.
Okay. Yeah.
That's probably what they're both reading right there. That's normally what happens in this type of offense.
And that's when you bring that other back out to the flats, and if he
Right.
can.
But you see, I mean, I paused it the moment the back got equal with the quarterback. Roquan is already changing directions.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he was right there.
Yeah,
He would have
yeah, I
made
mean,
a
it's-
catch either.
You know, he's an instinctive player, and he does play with his eyes really good. And you know, some guys just see it quicker than other people.
I mean, some guys, they see it and they trust it.
Right.
Because sometimes you move before, you know what I mean? He's moving, like right there, he's moving. He could have been moving faster
Right.
to where the ball was going.
Okay, so
9 yards per play the first half, down to 2 the second half.
and see, so like by formation, you're looking at this. These twins at the bottom have a really wide grouping. They're really wide off the ball. Okay. All right, let me show you why. Okay, so now they don't go at the bottom, and that doesn't mean they couldn't. The reason that you see this really wide split down here at the bottom is because they're going to run a slant bubble concept at the bottom, and they're wanting to create that space.
Gotcha.
So they're wide because when they run that slant underneath, they want a lot of grass
They're
there.
wanting this area right here.
Yep, they want that to be open. If that's the way they decide to go. Now, what Baker decides to do is go up top. So that would mean, see, when that's because that safety stepped up. When 24 stepped up, so that's going to be his first read.
Because like you said, they want to control the safeties because
Right.
they can beat the corner.
Right. That's exactly right. So once that safety comes up, that's where he's going to go with the ball.
Right. I gotcha.
All right. And that,
That was a heck of a catch and a great throw.
Oh,
Great,
yeah.
Good coverage.
And all of a sudden,
That quick.
you can feel the game changing a little bit.
Yep,
You know?
they got a first down.
Right. You're right.
They get a first down, get them chains moving. It's something else. Great call.
Yep. So there's a quarterback counter. This is something that when we were watching the game, we kept expecting them to do in overtime.
Mm-hmm.